Went to Moonworld after stopping by a government office to pick up a copy of a family register. Not that I needed to come here specifically, mind you. It was just the most relaxing place I knew in the area. It was a real shame I couldn't get a cup of joe while I was at it, but there was no helping that. I helped myself to a stool and pored over the document. Kohane Tori. She lived in a house by the Kondo River in Suginami with her foster parents. Before she was adopted, her last name had been Yoshino. That perfectly matched the name I'd found on the White Lily Gardens roster. And that wasn't all. I took out the paper Shizuru Hinagami had given me. Midori Yoshino. Is the surname just a coincidence? It's not a particularly rare one, after all. Midori Yoshino's family register had been lost due to the war, and Shizuru Hinagami himself had confirmed her death. Maybe that was why he couldn't find her daughter, even with all the resources of Hinagami Pharmaceuticals behind him. Still, what were the odds she'd been right under my nose the whole time? I charged Yukari with asking Kohane about her past, but knowing my sister, there was a chance she wouldn't be able to go through with it. As such, I just have to investigate myself, which meant my first order of business was visiting Kohane's home, questioning her neighbors, and having a word with her foster parents if possible. The house turned out to be a short walk away from Kugiyama Station on the Inokashira line. I stopped when I saw a nameplate reading Tori. This has to be the place. It was quite the compact little house. Though potted plants decorated the exterior, most of them had long since wilted away. The family didn't take good care of them. I observed the surroundings carefully so as not to make any neighbors suspicious, but sensed no one inside. Guess they're not home. In that case, all I could do was question the locals. It was with that plan in mind that I peeped into a shop 3 buildings over.
いらっしゃい。何にします？
コーラあります？
もちろん。
The shopkeep picked a bottle of soda out of a case on the floor.
はい、30万円。
Hey! 30,000? Fuck you. That's like the equivalent of $300 US. Held out a wrinkled hand. Took out 3 10-yen coins along with a shiny 100-yen coin and handed them to her.
俺もちょっとあんた計算もできないのかい？
Did I misunderstand what that... I took out 3 10-yen coins, that's 30, along with a shiny 100-yen coin and handed them to her. So is she just being cutesy about it? He handed her 30 yen, but they put another 100 on there. I was like, yeah. So is she just being silly? She's like, yeah, 30,000 yen. JK, it's just 30. Wait, what's this extra 100? Never thought I'd be told that by someone who actually said 30,000 yen.
いいえ、取っておいてください。
Explain myself, she handed me the soda bottle.
なんだい？
まずは栓抜きをか。
そこの壁だよ。
The little one pointed to a pillar with a bottle opener nailed to it. I snagged on the cap and used the leverage to pop the top off. Bubbles fizzed up, just barely not spilling. Soda itself was pleasantly cool, probably because it had been in the case on the floor.
ところで、
小羽ちゃんちがどうかしたのかい？
今訪ねたところ留守のようでして。
俺おかしいね。
ええ。
そういや、ずいぶん前に体調崩したとか小羽ちゃんが言ってたわね。
Does Kohane live on her
寝てて気
own?
づかなかったのかしらね。
Her parents probably passed away. She doesn't want to go back to an orphanage.
小羽さんはどういう子ですか？
いっつも元気で挨拶もしてくれるいい子だよ。家のこともほとんど一人でやってるみたいだしね。
ご両親は寝たきりなんですかね？
ずっと子供がいなくて、小羽ちゃんを引き取った時にはもうずいぶんの年だったからね。ああ、こういうのは喋っちゃいけないのかね。
Okay.
いえ、養子であることは存じてます。
普通の人だよ。父ちゃんは左官工で、母ちゃんはハリコさんだったかね。
何らかの宗教に傾倒しているということは。
確か父ちゃんの甥御さんが戦死した時はちょうど信州のお寺でお葬式をしたって。
It was hard to say for the nephew, given how he was long dead. The fact that she hadn't mentioned the parents themselves meant they likely had little to no connection to the blessed congregation.
どうもありがとう。
Set down the episode bottle and made my way back to the Tori residence. Maybe I could learn something about her birth parents if I asked how they came to adopt Kohane.
あれ？お兄さんじゃないですか？
Swiveled around to find Kohane staring at me curiously.
いやー、鳥居さん。
なんでうちの前にいるんですか？
Oh, this is your house? I had no idea. That's crazy. Kohane cocked her head. And she was totally right to be puzzled.
ちょっとそこの店に用事があってね。
Going to the shop I just visited.
あそこのおばちゃんが何かしたんですか？
いや、そういうわけじゃないから気にしなくていいよ。
はあ、うちに上がっていきます？
それじゃあお邪魔させてもらおうかな。
What a godsend.
ただいま。
Followed Kohane into her house. After passing through the entryway, she took me to what appeared to be her room.
着替えてきますんで、ここで待っててくださいね。
Finally left me behind. Sandals and a man's clogs had been at the entryway. However, I didn't sense anyone inside. Do her parents really live here? I leaned my ear against the door and listened. Could hear what sounded like Kohane getting changed. That was it. No hums of electrical appliances or anything. The sound of rustling soon ceased, followed by the clattering of a kettle and water filling up. Next came the ignition of a gas stove. Finally, I heard footsteps approach, so I backed away from the door.
今お湯を沸かしてますから。
ご両親は？
体調が優れないみたいで、奥のお部屋で寝てますよ。
That added up with what I'd heard.
そうか。じゃああまり長居をして。
心配しなくても大丈夫ですよ。
Connie's eyes lit up with curiosity.
この辺りに俺が調べている人が住んでいるらしくてね。
At least no one could say I wasn't being honest.
なんて人ですか？私、この辺りには
I'd say
詳しい
know
ですか
pretty
ら。
well.
ああ、吉野みどりという女性だ。
I studied Kohane's reaction.
吉野みどりさんですか？
However, she seemed to pay the name no special heed.
知らないかい？妙。
さあ、商店のおばちゃんも知らなかったんですよ。
まあな。
この辺りでは聞かない名字ですが、他の人にも聞いてきましょうか？
いや、そこまでしてもらわなくてもいいよ。
Wouldn't do to have the person in question snooping around.
それもそうですね。
Kohane caved rather easily. It seems she really didn't know a thing. Was it possible she didn't remember her mother's name, much less her own surname?
そういえば、君はいつ頃から孤児院にいたんだい？
あれ、ゆかりっちに聞いたんですか？
ああ、そんなところだよ。
Kept my answer vague.
私は物心ついた頃にはもう孤児院にいましたよ。
白百合の園？
ええ、山の中にあって大きな教会が一緒になっているんです。
ここに引き取られたのはいつ頃だい
？5年くらい前ですね。今の両親が引き取ってくれたん
5
で
years
す。
ago. Would have been 52. Okay. The same year the group suicide happened. So was she in a similar situation as Michiru, to where she was adopted out afterwards? Or was she adopted, or beforehand, or was she adopted out afterwards?
それは白百合の園が閉鎖された後。
いいえ、閉鎖を聞いたのはこちらに来てからでした。みんなバラバラになってしまって。
雪？
ゆきこちゃんのお兄さんですよ。
Big brother,
離れ
okay.
離れになっているみたいで、
Big brother.
今は
So
どこにい
older.
るかわかりませんけれど。
So if Yukiko is like roughly 17, right? Just that means he's probably definitely around like adult status, right? Now, is there any young adults that's unaccounted for that I can't like put a finger on and know exactly who they are? I don't think so. Because, like, we know Shinji Mamiya was from an orphanage, but we already know where his orphanage is. We already know his backstory. Definitely not Yaginuma. Definitely not Uozumi. Definitely not Takashiro. I'm just looking for, like, just for one, male names. You see what men we know. But then beyond that, I need to know, like, how old are they? Because clearly this person can't be too old if they were in the orphanage with Yukiko. And kind of turned out nothing. There's all the Hinigamis, there's all the Shikisas, Kuroyas, Utamis, Bunji Inui. Would not be Bunji Inui. That man was already old in 1940, alright? Definitely would not be Bunji Inui. Definitely would not be Takayama. Who the fuck is Wakaba Sunahara? Head of the White Lily Garden. Ah. Don't remember ever getting that name, but alright. So yeah, there's no one I can see in my notes, anyway, that tells me who that tells me like a younger name. Oh wow, seeing this chart now. Good Lord. It's like Oribi and Utsuki are older guys. They wouldn't be around the same age as Yukiko. Masuki would be older. Feels like any other guy I know is just definitely older. Be too old to fit the bill. So either the brother's dead or we have yet to find him. I recognize that name. It was on the White Lily Gardens roster, on the list of the deceased. Ah. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's right. Because he was looking at the list, saw the name, and he had like a mini heart attack. He was like, what? They're dead? Oh wait, no, it says Yukio, not Yukiko. Never mind. Yeah, right, he was on the list of the deceased. So was he part of the group suicide, or was he, you know, one of the guy that got absorbed, as Michiru put it? I still want to know what that actually means. So I decided it was best not to tell her without solid proof.
お湯沸かしたままだった。
Kohane got up.
申し訳ないけれど、そろそろおいとまさせてもらうよ。
Oh, come on.
お茶いりませんか？
また今度来た時にいただくことにするよ。
お仕事忙しそうですもんね。
まあ、しっかりと戸締まりはしておくんだよ。
I exited the house. Before leaving, I examined the entryway in detail and noticed the men's clogs were dusty. Seemed like her father hadn't been out in a while. Something's not right here. However, it wasn't my job to figure out what. I would have been lying if I said I wasn't concerned. I had bigger fish to fry at the moment. Checked the papers Shizuru had given me. There was a very high probability that Masuki's bridal candidate, Midori Yoshino's daughter, was, in fact, Kohane. Didn't seem like she was aware of that, though. She was probably selected because of her mother alone, because of her blood. What significance did that hold? I didn't know, whatever the case, I couldn't let the killer discover her true identity. That said, I'd been careful on my way over to ensure I wasn't tailed, so I didn't think they'd find out so easily. Still, I needed a plan. A plan to set their sights somewhere else. Oh ho ho. Masuki grappled with some documents in Toji's office back at Ueno. At present, he was studying a photo of Keigo Utsuki.
覚えはないか？
ええ、地元で会ったことはないですね。
That was to say, Hitogata.
奴は典型の会創立時より活動に参加しており、戦前には幾度となく人型集落を訪れていたそうだが。
何をしに来ていたんでしょうかね。
わからん。元教主千草道夫の代理だったと思われるが。
こっちの人にも覚えはないですね。
Masuki shook his head after scrutinizing a photo of Tokihiro Oribe.
小さな集落ですから、よそ者が入ってきたらすぐにわかります。まあ、自分が小さい頃のことですか。
Didn't even remember Michio Shikusa, the one who'd been a Hitogatan to begin with. Well, from what we learned, he left, like, either before Ayato was even born or when he was still an infant.
宇津木という男は典型の会が千里教になってからも教団に属していたが、
Toji flipped through her documents.
教団内にオリベ派とも呼べるものを作り、主流派とは一線を画していたようだ。
Masuki had heard the same himself numerous times.
オリベが殺されたとするならば、十中八九が内部の犯行によるものだろう。
何か確証はあるんですか？
まだないさ。しかし、組織のナンバー2、しかも金回りを取り仕切っているとくれば。
That all stood to reason.
しかし、宇津木圭吾という男について分かっていることが少なすぎる。
とは言っても、自分より年上であれば覚えはあるかもしれませんが。
Masuki went over everyone from Hitogata who currently resided in Tokyo. Naoto wasn't that much older than him, and Karen was the exact same age, naturally. So I left either his father or Nanako.
病院に行って、菜々子さんに話を聞いてみましょうか。
The idea of seeing his father made Masuki uncomfortable. But while Nanako was much easier to talk to, she was also a member of the Blessed Congregation in all but name.
こちらが調べている内容が漏れる恐れがあるんじゃないのか。
逆に典型界内部のことが聞き出せるかもしれません。
それもそうだね。
Touch nodded and stacked her papers.
今日は土曜か。夕方であれば病院もそう忙しくはないだろう。
Masaki nodded, giving her Utsuki and Odabe's photos as instructed.
ところでまさき、
何ですか？
そもそも彼女は病院にいるのか？
いなかったら他の方法を考えましょう。
Shirley works there part-time. I was gonna say, is it about to cut to a red screen? Don't do that to me. Return to Kichijoji Station. The longer I waited to come up with a plan, the greater the chances the culprit would strike Kohane next. I had to keep her from dying at all costs. But I couldn't tell Shizuru Hinagami either, of course. After all, that would most likely lead to the information getting leaked to the killer. Without proof, arresting the murderer was going to be the biggest problem. I'll have to lure them into a trap. However, I had to make sure it was absolutely foolproof, given how dangerous this was.
時坂先生、
Sup, Ayame? I stopped in my tracks. By this point, there's only one person who still called me Professor.
なんだい佐藤さん。
Turned around to find Ayame Sato there in her uniform, just as I had expected.
お仕事中でしたか？
Of course. Can I help? Can I help? Can I help?
まあね、
大変そうですね。
まあ仕事だからね。
昨晩のこともありますからね。
Ayame glanced in the direction of
あい
Moonworld.
つあの後何か言ってたか。
今日は会っていないのでわかりませんが、
しばらく機嫌が悪かったからな。
それは仕方ないと思います。
That's your fault,
先
dude.
生は何でも自分で解決しようとして一人で抱え込む嫌いがありますから。
Couldn't believe I was getting lectured by a girl younger than my own sister.
他の人にも説明していなかったりするんじゃありませんか？
Think of it, did I even tell Masaki and Toji? No, knowing me, I'd probably figured they didn't need to know.
その点は大丈夫だと。
Problem.
何かお役に立てることがあればいつでもお手伝いしますよ。
いや、気持ちだけ受け取っておくよ。
危険ではあるけれど役に立てることがあるんですね。
I love you, Ayame.
あいや、そういうは。
This girl, I swear.
まあそのうちに何かあったら頼むよ。
Tried to end the conversation there,
そのうちって
but Ayame wasn't having any of it. There was indeed something she could do for me, but it was far too risky. That said, if it worked, I could put an end to this whole tragedy once and for all.
何かあるみたいですね。
Ayame hit the nail right on the head, even though I'd only considered the idea for a few
い
minutes.
や、何もないぞ。
怪しいですね。
Damn, she was beating me at my own game. It seriously felt like I was getting backed into a corner, possibly because she wasn't that much shorter than me. Even now, it still boggled my mind that she was supposed to be younger than Yukari.
剣道でしたら多少のたしなみがありますよ。
そういう過信が判断を鈍らせるんだぞ。
ええ、承知しています。
If nothing else, this girl was dedicated.
ですから何かありましたら遠慮なく私を使ってくださいね。
Oh, brother. It would have been ideal if I could dress Masaki as a woman, but that plan was apt to fail since he was taller than me. Ayame was about the only one in the appropriate age bracket I could entrust with the job. So it was just too dicey. Ever telling her to stay out of it because it was dangerous likely would have had the opposite effect instead. The gleam in the normally stoic Ayame's eyes was all the proof I needed of that.
念には念を入れればなんとかなるかな。
なんとかなるんですね。
なんとかしなくちゃならないからな。
Otherwise, I'd have even more blood on my hands. Oh shit. Okay. Masaki and Toji arrived at the Dust Split Hospital. There wasn't a single patient to be found in the lobby, perhaps because it was a Saturday evening.
すみません。沢城さんはいますか？
Masaki addressed the nurse at the reception desk.
少々お待ちください。
It was shortly thereafter that Nanako took the nurse's place.
あら、お見舞いですか？
え？誰のですか？
Masaki furrowed his brow.
誰って知らないんですか？
葉月さん。
月世界の店長だが。
喫茶店でしたよね。聞いたことはありますけど行ったことはありません。
たく。いや、その話は後だ。先にこちらの話を済ませよう。
Toji pulled herself together and turned back to Nanako.
何ですか？
宇津木警護について調べています。
A faint pallor of gloom shrouded Nanako's visage.
典型界の宇津木さんですよね。お会いしたこともないので。
昔は何度も人型集落を訪れていたそうだ。
Toji showed Utsuki's photo to Nanako.
知っているんですか？
いえ
Oh, you stuttering.
見覚えはないと。
すみません
Nanako hung her head.
知らないのならば、
Toji sighed.
そうなると次はお前の父親だな。
そうなりますけど。
Utsuki found Nanako's behavior suspect, but there was nothing he could say when Toji wasn't acting on that.
葉月さんの病室は？
はいこちらです
Really swept over Nanako's face before she guided the pair down the hall.
あらお久しぶり
Kyoko smiled when Toji came in, only to cock her head with bewilderment when she saw Masaki.
どちら様
時坂が雇ってる。
正木智之です。
Masaki bowed and introduced himself.
ああそういえば先月言っていたわね
Much as that phrasing didn't sit right with Masaki, he could do nothing but take it in silence, seeing as how he was completely accurate.
葉月京子よよろしくね
よろしくお願いします。
傷の具合はどうだ？
ええ痛み止めも効いているし問題ないわよ
警察に届けを出していないそうだな。
ええあまり大ごとにしたくないの
あなたがそう言うのなら仕方ないが。
Toji just snorted, clearly not placated. Masaki and Toji said their goodbyes and left Kyoko in
時
peace.
坂さんの恋人ですか？
本人たちは違うと否定するだろうがね。
Toji lit a cigarette and exhaled those words with a puff of smoke.
まあそう考えても問題ないと思う。
Oh. Toji's response had only left Masaki even more confused than when he'd asked. Fuyumi sat all alone in her dark apartment, staring off into space. Oh, Fuyumi! I've totally forgotten. Obviously, Jesus, it's been like 5 days too. Didn't fucking. She lost the will to do anything ever since Yukiko's departure. I don't have access to my notes, but wasn't it the 6th? It was like the 6th or the 8th. It was still in the single digits at least when Yukiko got taken. So you're telling me for like 3 to 5 days, you've just. No one's come in to check on you? No one's got, even just for investigation purposes, like no one's come to say anything? You've just been sitting here all by yourself, depressed as fuck, missing your daughter? And not one motherfucker, even though multiple motherfuckers know, not one person has come in here to, that pisses me off. Fuyumi's a goddamn angel, and ain't no one showing her any respect right now. It's bullshit. Well, she'd somehow managed to bring herself to do her job. She couldn't do so much as lift her finger after she got back home. The stacks of cash bequeathed to her by the blessed congregation sat neglected in a bag. Fuyumi didn't dare use any of that blood money. For doing so would be akin to acknowledging she'd sold off Yukiko. In either case, Fuyumi found herself alone. Until a few years ago, that was the life she'd been used to. However, when Yukiko entered the picture, Fuyumi discovered what it was like to have a family for the first time in her life. Aww. Even if said family had been nothing more than a protracted game of house. Regardless, Fuyumi wanted to see Yukiko. Unfortunately, there was nothing she could do. Suddenly the doorbell rang. Don't you fucking dare hurt Fuyumi. Don't fucking do this to me. For the love of God. Fuyumi looked to the door, raising her head as slowly as a crane hauling cargo. It rang again. Could that be Yukiko? It isn't. No. God damn it. The same shit happened to Mayu. Where she's like, oh, maybe that's Masaki, and he's come to apologize to me. But no, I can't let him do that. I gotta answer the door. And you get shanked. God, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, please. Fumi bolted to the door with that notion before she even knew what she was doing. No.
Yukiko!
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh. Oh. It's just Kohane. Oh, fuck. You had me so fucking terrified. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I was about to start losing my shit. Oh, I've never been more happy in my life to see Kohane's face. Holy shit. But sadly, her hopes were dashed. My hopes went through the roof. She's not getting shanked. For the one staying there was in fact Kohane, Yukiko's schoolmate.
ごめんなさいね。てっきり。
いえ。
You know what? I never thought I'd say this. Big ups to Kohane. She seems to be the first person to actually check in on Huyumi. Like, maybe she has some questions, right? She wants to ask some questions, get a little information. But she's the first motherfucker to actually come talk to Kohane, to Huyumi. I gotta give credit where credit's due. That's big ups right there.
鳥居さんよね。何かご用だった？
ユキオちゃんに会わせてほしいんです。
Oh. Oh. Okay, for one, rescind the big ups. Clearly not here for Huyumi, but also... For a moment, Huyumi wondered if her ears had betrayed her.
ユキオ？
Doesn't she mean Yukiko? If she had, though, that was one which Huyumi couldn't grant.
ごめんなさい。
ユキオちゃんです。ユキコちゃんのお兄さんの。
Yukiko's brother? Huyumi had never heard about anyone of the sort. Yukiko hadn't had any other family back when Huyumi adopted her. No one from the Blessed Congregation ever mentioned a Yukio either.
何かの勘違いじゃないかしら。
じゃあユキコちゃんに会わせてください。
それも今の私にはどうにもならないの。
Huyumi feebly shook her head.
だったら
Kohane set her bag down and took out a notebook.
これをユキコちゃんに渡してください。
Kohane wrote something down.
できれば明日の早いうちに。
そうは言われても。
Regardless, Huyumi started concocting a plan. She had work at the nursery tomorrow. So either she could ask someone else to do it, or perhaps...
保証することはできないけれど、それでもいいのだったら。
お願いします。
Kohane tore out the paper when she was done, folded it in two, and handed it to Huyumi.
ええ。
Huyumi turned on the living room lights once Kohane left. She wouldn't be able to just hand the note off as is to a messenger. Thus she procured a manila envelope from a drawer. However, she was curious about what the note said, so she decided to take a peek first. Huyumi gingerly unfolded the paper, mentally apologizing to Kohane all the while.
2階は地、夜に生きよう。四つ光る。計画揃う。城は咲きつつ。
This is one of their fucking poems, isn't it? But like, if you just look at the capitalized letters, it doesn't make any sense. SNCRD? That doesn't make sense. It's not one where you like look at the first syllables, like that one where they spelt out Yukari. What about the last letter? Y T E M. Nope. It's one of those acrostic poems, right? That's what it's meant to be. I can already tell that at first because the actual text itself doesn't make much sense. But there's got to be a reason that certain words are capitalized. SNC, especially that there at the end, because a lot of them they could just be run-on sentences, right? But SNCRD doesn't tell me anything. Is this supposed to be a poem? Can't make heads or tails of it though. Some kind of newfangled trend, maybe? Whatever it is, though, why does she need to get this to Yukio as early as tomorrow? as early tomorrow as possible. Tomorrow's a Sunday. Is something happening then? I need to ponder that question for some time, only to end up with as many answers as she had at the start. I want answers now, though, damn it. I had my nose stuck in the case file ever since I woke up. Usually, the victims were suddenly struck and injected with a muscle relaxant first. That probably wouldn't happen so long as she watched her six, but one can never be too careful. Suddenly the doorbell rang. Yukari was here, so I'd have to greet our guest at the door. Maybe putting a metal plate and a scarf would be would counter the killer's syringe. But I'd never want to wear a scarf like that personally.
兄さん、佐藤さんがいらっしゃいましたが。
Oh ho? Yukari opened the door with a puzzled look on her face.
兄さんに用事があるそうなのですが。
ああ、こっちに通してくれ。
わかりました。
Yukari headed for the front door. It wasn't long before I heard footsteps approaching from down the hallway.
時坂先生、お待たせしました。
おう。って、その長い袋は何だ？
市内ですが。
Emma explained that as if she was telling me about some lint I'd spotted on her clothes. Sure, she was a member of the Kendo Club, so there was nothing odd about her carrying one of those around, but still.
必要になると思ったんで。
いや、まあ、あれば心強いだろうけれど。
Might stand out a bit, yeah.
木刀の方が良かったですか？
そういう問題じゃなくてだな。隠しておけないだろう？
背中に入れておけば見えないと思いますが。
抜けないだろう。
それもそうですね。
Emma set the bag down in the corner of the room and removed her coat.
防具も持ってこようと思ったのですが、美術室に置いたままでしたので。
さすがに防具までつけていたら目立つだろう。
服の中に入れれば服が伸びてしまいますね。
Emma shot down her own idea before she was even done voicing it.
相手が刃物を持っている可能性が高いから、何らかの方法で防御力を高める必要がある。
お腹に鉄板でも入れておけばいいかもしれませんが、重くて動きが阻害される恐れがありますね。
何の話をしてるんですか？
You could have came in with some tea.
いや、ちょっと作戦をな。
何の作戦かはあえて尋ねませんが。
You could have took my sleeve and dragged me out of the room.
兄さん、おかしなことに佐藤さんを巻き込まないでください、ね。
I wish I could make that promise. You could have.
心配するな。
兄さんがついているから余計に心配なんですよ。
そうならないように十分気をつけるよ。そうだ、ゆかり。マスクは。
By the way, you got a face mask? Yeah, that's reassuring. I promise we'll be plenty careful. Don't worry about anything. And we got a face mask?
ええ。
Oh, wait.
ありますけれど。
I just realized what they meant by face mask. Like one that people would normally wear. I was thinking like a whole, like, full-on fucking mask. Like a fucking costume mask. Like, so got a fucking Halloween costume shit. Well, that's a weird thing to ask for. Then, like, I actually thought about it for a moment. Like, wait. I think it's once you could have agreed so readily, like, oh yeah, of course I do. And it's just like, wait a minute. I think I might be off here. I returned to my room and handed Ayame the face mask.
これは
It's a mask for your face.
顔を隠すためと、万が一に吸引性の薬物を使われた際の防御用だ。
注射で筋弛緩剤を打たれていることが。
次もそうだとは限らないからな。警戒するに越したことはない。
Couldn't risk her getting hurt if our killer decided to shake things up.
首筋などを守るのにはマフラーに鉄板を仕込めばいいと思ったんだ。
どうやって巻くんですか？
And this was why it was always best to brainstorm in groups. You're both idiots. I love it.
おはようございます、茅原さん。
おはよう。
体調が悪いんですか？
ちょっとね。
Umi sighed. She knew better than anyone that looking so down the dumps would only unsettle the children. However, she just couldn't snap herself out of this funk. Now that Yukiko was gone, she was all alone again. She feared she'd relapse into her old self.
休んでいた方がいいのではありませんか。
Nanako felt Umi's forehead. Her skin was cool.
熱はないようだけれど。風邪をひいていたら子供たちの世話はできないもの。沢城さん？何です？沢城さんは確か典型会の方にお知り合いがいましたよね。お正月に月世界で会った人。ええ。でもあの人はただ食卓医としているだけで。それでも構わないんです。これを会の人に渡してほしくて。
Umi handed an envelope to Nanako. There's the one with Kohane's note inside.
娘さん宛て。本当は自分で渡すのが筋だと思うのだけど、私が言っても門前払いされる可能性があるから。何があったの？
Umi just quietly shook her head. She couldn't explain the details.
分かったわ。
Nanako nodded and put it away in the envelope.
ありがとう。ごめんなさい。いいのよ。今日あちらに行く用事があるから。
Oh, on business? What business? You handle it. Nanako handed her baby off to Umi a moment later.
じゃあ、この子をお願いしますね。
Baby was sound asleep.
ええ。しっかりと預からせていただきます。
Doorbell rang as I was kicking back in the living room. Funny. Do you have anyone else scheduled to stop by today?
兄さん、青木さんがいらっしゃい
Oh,
ました。
hell yeah.
当時が
Did something come up?
邪魔するぞ。
Doji entered the living room and tossed me an envelope.
これは
出版社をいくつか回って集めてきた情報だ。
So this is about the sheep of Purgatorio.
佐藤さん、ちょっといいですか？
何ですか、先輩。
Yukari, realizing where this was going after a shudder look, left the living room with Aimu in tow. Good. I don't want either of them to hear this.
文芸小説という雑誌を知っているか？
No.
ああ桂木慎が小説を発表していたな。
そこの編集部にプルガトリオの羊の初期案の口外が残されていた。
初期案
題名も何も入っていないが、正真正銘桂木慎が書き残したものだ。
I opened the envelope and found what she was talking about.
それは内容だけを編集部員が書き写したものだが、似ているだろう。
Even a quick skim revealed without a shadow of a doubt that it was a draft for what would become the sheep of Purgatorio.
編集部はこれがあることを根拠に本を出した出版社を訴えることになるかもしれないそうだ。
まあそれは勝手にやってくれって話だな。そもそもプルガトリオの羊の作者が見つからなくてはどうしようもないだろうに。
それも探しているそうだ。ちなみにプルガトリオの羊の筆跡は両編集部の誰とも一致しなかった。
身内を隠しているわけじゃないということか。
あくまで初期案だからな。似たような口外はいくつも書いているだろうさ。
その初期案いつから編集部にあったんだ？
昭和30年事件が起こる前だな。
Oh?
ああ事件後だったらそれはまた問題になるだろうからな。
There's little to no chance that the published The Sheep of Purgatorio had been written by a member of the editing department of Art and Literature. There was... Did I read that right? There was little to no chance that the published... Yeah, I think I read that wrong. That the published The Sheep of Purgatorio had been written by a member of the editing department of Art and Literature, much less one of their friends or family. Otherwise, there would have been no point in forwarding it to another publisher. After all, it would have been easier to just send it to their own company and recap the benefits through there. Plus, there was a matter of the actual publishers of The Sheep of Purgatorio. It was unlikely that they'd ever been aware of the existence of this outline.
少なくとも桂木慎間宮真司と直接の接触があった人物だろうな。
So I had no idea when that would have been.
逃走中の桂木慎を見つけたやつか。
確かにそういうやつがいるのなら桂木慎の口外を知ることもできるだろ
しかしそうなるとなぜそいつが原稿を書いた？虚栄心を満たすためか。
うな。それもあるだろうが桂木慎が原稿を書けなかった理由があったとも考えられる。
桂木真が死んでいる可能性。
もちろんそれだけじゃない。腕を失ったり書くこと自体をやめ
All honestly, I didn't want to consider the possibility that he was dead. Because if he was, what was I even chasing? I only saw him as a means to locate Toko. Or at least, this would be so much easier on me if I actually could regard him in such a way.
生死問わず目撃情報がないか調べよう。身元不明の死体も洗わないとならないな。
ああ、だがそれは明日以降にしてくれないか。
今日何かあるのか。いや、何かするつもりなんだな。
まあちょっとな。いつでも動けるようにしていてくれるとありがたい。
わかった。
あと悪いんだが、お前の獲物を貸してくれないか。
Absolutely not. Put the tonfa hidden in the confines of your coat.
それは構わないが、お前が使うのか。
俺じゃないよ。
I gestured down the hallway. Yukari had hauled her off, and yet there she was, eavesdropping just as I had expected. It was frustrating, but that was just Ayame for you.
案外活動的なんだな。
いや、違うって。
Nanako went straight to the Blessed Congregation's headquarters after dropping off her baby. In her bag was a letter for Yukiko that Huyumi had given her. Nanako hadn't been told exactly why Yukiko was with the Blessed Congregation. But after Odabe's death just a day ago, it was clear something was going down in this building. However, she couldn't risk getting to the bottom of it. Nor did she even really want to. She considered it none of her business. Nanako was led inside after explaining her business to the imposing guard at the door. Much as she wanted to have a word with Naori, he apparently wasn't there at the moment. She suddenly grew forlorn at the realization she was all alone in their headquarters. That said, it wasn't like the Blessed Congregation had actually done anything, not that she was aware of anyway. Even the story of how they'd had her fellow nurse killed was nothing more than a groundless rumor. For she knew murder wasn't the work of any sort of creed or dogma, simply emotions. Nanako turned around when she heard the door open behind her.
ミコに渡すものがあるのか。
Nanako gasped when she saw the man standing there, Utsuki. He was the one from the photograph she'd been shown yesterday. That wasn't all.
言うまでもないことですが、手紙の内容はこちらでも精査させていただきます。
Nanako nodded and presented the envelope, her mind worlds away.
そう緊張なさらずとも。
Utsuki spoke with a smile. However, Nanako drew away from him. He wanted to leave as soon as possible.
失礼します。
Nanako took a deep breath when she reached Nara's infirmary. She was sweating despite the cold. First yesterday, and now this. Nanako wrapped her arms around herself, for she never would have been able to stop shivering otherwise. She stayed rooted in that place for the next few minutes, weeping her heart out. Oh. Interesting.